Hi, this is a look at the NBA Live PC project, and that exists because EA Sports a couple years ago decided to make NBA Live a console-only release, and there was already a lot of online patching and roster updates and things happening with NBA Live previous years, and an online group, website, forum, whatever you want to call them, it's NBALive.com, there's a hyphen in there, decided to take NBA Live 06 and do the best they could to give you up-to-date rosters and jerseys and everything else. That includes, Shaq on the Cavs, Artest on the Lakers, Rasheed Wallace on the Celtics, and you get, Blake Griffin as a new rookie, and a bunch of new shiny bells and whistles on an old game, which you might already own. You can go out and buy one for $5, and for free, you could very easily have up-to-date rosters and information, and it's really cool. I think it's a lot of people might be interested in it if they knew more about it. And we're going to look at a few features here. Here's a few screenshots of the rosters, which are accurate of just up to the end of October of 09 here. And as far as I can tell, they seem to be pretty accurate. Here's Blake Griffin, and they've got Greg Oden in the game, and Iverson's on Memphis, and Marion's on Dallas, and Vince Carter's in Orlando, and you go on and on and on. They seem to be legitimate, they seem to be accurate, and they've tweaked ratings to make it seem more legit, more playable and accurate as of 2010. Because obviously, guys who are superstars in 06 probably shouldn't have the same ratings now, and likewise from people building their way up. And it feels pretty balanced, and it feels like it plays right, and it feels like guys who should be superstars and who should be putting up huge numbers in games do, and they've done a really good job with that. There is one thing, too, that the Live PC project offers that the latest releases of 2K and Live don't, and that is Michael Jordan, a little player in the 90s that a couple people heard of. But, and not just Jordan, but there's so many legends, and the Legends rosters feel like legends in this game, which is great. I mean, you could play as Scottie Pippen, you can play as Jordan. You get a lot of guys who, they have the contractual problems. I don't know what keeps them out of these games, but you almost never see John Stockton in any games anymore, and he's in the game, and it feels and plays like a legitimate John Stockton, which is cool, because I was a big John Stockton fan. But if you're not, you get Isaiah Thomas, you can play as Reggie Miller, you can get Larry Bird, you can go back and get Magic Johnson, Hakeem Olajuwon, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Wilt Chamberlain, Bill Russell. Like, the list just goes on, and they feel like legends and they play like legends. And that was always something that drove me nuts in the old console version of Live, where it had Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and he's like a 76 overall, which is just a sin. Like, how can you do that? But anyway, like, things like that don't happen here. It's balanced, and they've taken a community and they've debated these things, and it's just amazing. You get so many great players, and it's unlike anything else that you will find. Here's some screenshots of jerseys, and there's basically nothing that's left out as far as jerseys go. You'll have the 09-10 jerseys, you'll have tons of throwbacks, lots of cool variations in between, and you get Oklahoma City Thunder, which is Oklahoma's included in this game, which is really cool considering it was not a team in 06. There's a few problems with that, and we'll talk later, and if you look here, the screenshot on the preview looks a little goofy. I'll show you another one here with Kevin Durant in-game, proving that it plays just fine, it looks great. But for the most part, what they've done with jerseys is just as cool as what they've done with rosters, and you don't have to unlock anything from the get-go. You get lots of cool features, lots of weird throwbacks and odd things you've probably never seen, and you can use them. They're kind of fun. Not a huge factor, but it's nice. There's also a lot of fine detail in the game, which I found really impressive. They've updated the listing on coaches and things. If you go to the Chicago Bulls, you'll see Vinny Del Negro is listed as, head coach. And that's a little thing, it's a little fine detail that they probably didn't have to include, But I think because they did, you get little things like that. You get new logos, you get new all-star rosters and new courts and things like that. And you really get the sense that this isn't some hack, it isn't some, generic little change or ploy or gimmick. Like, this is a serious undertaking, it's a legitimate project, and it's a really cool presentation. Here's a quick rundown of an IGN review of NBA Live '06. There'll be a link for that. You can read the whole thing. But I think they made a good choice in selecting Live '06 for this project. It was more strongly critically received than '07, '8, and '9, and it started to add new features like you get superstar abilities, and you can just dunk on people, and you can hit clutch 3-pointers, and it's exciting, but it's not too arcadey. And I think some of the later NBA Live games kind of got carried away with some of that stuff. And just out of the box, it plays somewhat realistically. You can make slider adjustments and whatnot, and we'll talk about that later. But I think right out of the box, you get something that's a legitimate basketball presentation, but at the same time, it's exciting. At the same time, it's really fun to play. And that's what's important, and I think they made a really good choice by adding these new features and really updating the core of a solid game, which was Live '06. I think graphically the game looks pretty good. Obviously it's not the latest release. It's not high def or anything, but players look like they do in real life, and they move quickly, and it simulates what a game looks like. If you have a newer PC, you can turn on much more detail and lighting effects and stuff like that. And if you have an older PC, you can decrease some of that stuff, and you turn off the crowd and stuff, so you can make it run very well from an older PC to a newer one, and I think generally it tends to look pretty good no matter what. Online play is still available. It's still free, and that'll continue to be the case. The EA server no longer supports Live '06, so you can't just log in and play somebody, but if you know who you want to play, then you can have a couple IP addresses. Within a very short period of time, you guys can be playing effortlessly online, and there's not very much lag usually, and it seems to work really well. There's online leagues who are still using the game, and they'll probably use releases of this project. Controllers are supported. I have the Logitech PS2 lookalike, and when I'm playing it on PC, I feel like I'm playing a console game. It feels great, feels fine. Brand new features and updates and whatnot. It's probably actually better. About the slider adjustments, basically, if you don't know what that means, it's changing the game speed and frequency of dunks and blocks and whatnot, and it basically allows you to decide how much of the game is a genuine simulation, or if you'd prefer a crazy dunk fest where you can run the court in 2 seconds or whatever. You can make that change. You can tweak things. You can also log on to NBALive.com. They've got the little hyphen in the name still there, and you can find easy recommendations, and you can use that as a jumping off point and make your own tweaks and get it to play just how you want it to play. Another great thing about this game is because it's a community project, you yourself can tweak and change things. And you log on to the NBA Live site, and you can get the tools you need to redraw characters. You can make jerseys. You can contribute your own ideas to the project, or change things and make them better for yourself. It doesn't really matter, but it's very easy to do, and it's very easy to get involved with. Maybe you think Ray Allen should have a dragon tattoo on his forehead. You can add that and then go online and post it and see what people think, and maybe it'll be available in the future. So it's got a really cool interactive community-driven base, and basically it accomplishes a lot more than a developer at a legitimate company that's releasing things, because you yourself can decide what you want in the game, and that's a really neat feature that you won't find anywhere else. All in all, it really is an impressive project. When I played the earlier release of it, I wasn't expecting much. I thought it would just be a few little tweaks and things, and I was blown away by the amount of content that they were able to add, and it just totally revitalized an old game, and it was really cool. And since playing their newer releases, I say that bar has only gone up higher. It just keeps getting better, and this project keeps evolving and changing. They talked about, I think it was one of the NBA Live games a few years back. It had the DNA where it'll change as time goes on. This is the real deal. Only you can affect that DNA yourself. You can be involved in this. It's really cool. And the best thing is, it's $5 to $10, and it's a free upgrade. And if that doesn't sell you on this, I don't know what will. But I think you should check it out. It's a very legitimate project. A lot of hard work has gone into this, and it really shows, and it's a lot of fun to play. So hope you check it out.